All right. Yeah.
Okay. Look. All right. So, just to give you a little backstory. So, I teach eighth grade, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to provide my students with different types of career choices, right? And so I want to do a few I want to do a series, so a few different books that just kind of helps them discover what is out there to do, what type of career paths are out there, some non-traditional career paths. And then what I did is I asked them to come up with questions. So we're going to go through a few of the questions that they asked, and then some of the ones that I kind of I liked them, didn't like them. You know how that happens.
Right.
And so, but first, before I begin, I definitely want you to just do a brief introduction of who you are, what you do, all that, because I think that would take care of probably 20 of the questions that they were asking.
Right. Right.
So I'm gonna give you that opportunity to kind of do your thing.
All right. So Corey McCoy. I'm a graduate of University of Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm a history and education major. I taught eighth grade for a couple of years myself before I had to go into the food truck business. Now I'm in the hospitality industry, and I have a chicken wing restaurant that's called Kitchen on Klinton. You can find us at EKOK underscore on Instagram, and we have 3 locations. I'm about to open up our 4th and 5th one, and we're trying to grow into a national chain. I'm a military veteran. I'm an Army kid, and I'm a bike rider. I like riding bicycles, so I guess that's introduction.
Look, that's something new that I didn't know. Look, no. All right, so um, we're gonna look. Let's just get it started because I don't want to do too much explaining. So one of the questions that they started with is, what was your key driving force to become an entrepreneur?
My key driving force to become an entrepreneur was really trying to prove a point to my dad that he could have been an entrepreneur because he had a really good recipes. He's a great cook. And I was trying to tell him that, man, you could have been opening up a restaurant to where I wouldn't even have to work. I could have been just a millionaire kid, you know what I'm saying, kicking back. But he always used to think I'm just messing around. So one day I took one of his recipes, and that was for the chicken wings, and got with my friends and kicked it off. And it's been growing ever since. So I think I proved my point to him. Since then, he's, opened up his catering business, really tried to get everything started. But that was really my driving point. It was more trying to prove a point and trying to give confidence to somebody else. And then it just turned into my own confidence in business.
I love it, and for that to actually inspire him to be like, okay, look, check, look, check, look, checkmate, no, check, I got you. I'm gonna move. Look, I'm gonna move now. So look, and sorry, my sinus is bothering me.
Yeah, you're good.
So, what personality traits should that you feel a leader should have?
That's a good question. Patience. I think that's a major one that a lot of people overlook, especially because leaders are often ambitious. You know what I'm saying? They always chasing a goal. They always trying to inspire others. But there's so many aspects of leadership that require patience and really being able to be present in the moment, but at the same time be watching, you know what I'm saying, for the future. And you can't rush time alone, you know what I'm saying? Seconds move at the same time, minutes move at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You can't press fast forward like we do in our lives, and I mean on video or video games and stuff. So learning patience and learning how to best utilize your time while being patient. So patience is the first one. Time utilization. I don't know the exact, you know what I'm saying, word for that. What was that? Being efficient. I think that's, you know what I'm saying,
right?
A important skill, because it's 24 hours in a day. Everybody gets the same 24 hours in a day, and it's really no excuse not to be able to do whatever you set your mind to, because there's people who've done it before, and there's a pathway for it. So it's really all about learning how to use your time in the most efficient manner to getting to where you're going. And it's so easy to take a day off. It's so easy to take 2-3 hours off. It's so easy to just get distracted. You know what I'm saying? And that's a skill you'll constantly have to work on. So patience, efficiency, and last but not least, perseverance. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to not quit. That's the main thing. Regardless of what your situation is, you got to have faith and the perseverance to be able to be like, I'm gonna be able to make it regardless. Like right now it might be tough, right now it might be rough. I'm learning a couple different things, but in the future, that's what I'm getting to it. So I think those are the three things you gotta have: patience, efficiency, and perseverance.
Look, you said something then because I was like, right, you cannot give up. And I teach in the classroom. I tell them, I was like, failure is a part of success. And
Right,
the thing about it is you truly don't fail unless you stop. And
right.
so they really had to learn that a lot this year, you know, with my kids. So look, you right. Look, you on the money. Well, even going into that. So one of the other questions that are here, I'm gonna skip it a little bit because it kind of goes with it. Have you ever thought about quitting?
It was actually when I taught, because I started we started cooking while I was still in college. And we maybe a year went by, 2 years, well really it was 2 years went by before we ever even started paying ourselves. So about like a year and a half in, we didn't have no other jobs. It was just KOK. So I was at that time I had just turned like 25. And I think that's when you got to start paying your insurance and all that. The big boy bills start coming through. They really like, all right, you grow now. So I was feeling a little bit of pressure and I was feeling a little different. And I never thought about quitting. I just had to quit in the sense of dedicating all my time to KOK, like I asked my partners to do. We all had quit our jobs and dedicated all our time. But I told them, we not paying ourselves right now and can't afford to have no income coming in. I got to start paying for all these new bills. So I started teaching, which I graduated and I had an opportunity to do that. And man, I taught for 6 months before I had to quit my teaching job and go back to KOK because, man, business was just booming and we just needed the help. And then, we were able to afford to pay ourselves a little bit then. Not much, but a little bit just to make it go away. So I still wasn't feeling nothing. But that was the only time I ever felt like quitting per se. And it wasn't never quitting. It was just taking a pause because it gets rough. Like when building a business from the ground up and you not paying yourself and you're investing all your money back, a lot of people act like that's just the sweet story, grind it out. No, man, stuff is
Uh-oh. No worries. Look, there we go. Look,
okay.
it's no problem. I was like, oh, I hope he come back.
Yeah, I'm bad. Um, but I think we're talking about did I ever quit, and I mean just to
Think
finish
about
it
it.
off.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's the only time I ever got thought about it because it does get rough, and I think it's important in business owners to be transparent that it's not all sunflowers and lollipops. You know what I'm saying? When you take this career path, but it does pay off if you keep your head down and keep working.
So is it safe to assume, right? Because this is one of the questions. Is it safe to assume that the work is worth or that the money is worth the work or the work is worth the money? Because it says, is all this work worth the money, the amount of money that you make?
The biggest thing you get access to when you become an entrepreneur is time. And you get time control over your time way before you start getting the big dollars or a whole bunch of money. Right now I know friends who technically, they're working for other people and technically they're making more than me. You know what I'm saying? Just personally, not as far as my business. You know what I'm saying? But what I pay myself on a yearly basis, they're making more than me. But how much control over their time do they have? Versus how much control over my time do I have? Like I get to, choose what and how I, work all day and every day. And it didn't start off that way because, of course, when I first started the business, we were the ones working and we were the ones in the kitchen nonstop, vice versa. But the good thing about being an entrepreneur is you get to provide opportunities for other people, you know what I'm saying, to get jobs and to do the jobs that you was once doing to the point where now I'm at the point where I don't have to go to work. I still go to work because I love my job. I'm passionate about what I do. You know what I'm saying? I want to be there. But technically, if I just wanted to sit in the house all day, I could. You know what I'm saying? And nothing
Right.
would go wrong. So I think a lot of people chase the dollars, but the first thing they need to be focused on is just having control of their time. Because once you get control of your time, you can make money a million different ways in this world. You know what I'm saying? So um including just not just from your business, but any of your other passions you have, you know? So um I think yeah, time is the most wealthiest thing you get when you become an entrepreneur, regardless of how much
Right. And that's some of what we hear too a lot. Just going, I'm gonna go away, I'm gonna come back. But what we hear a lot on Clubhouse too is that when you are at a certain level, you get what I'm saying? Like the poor look for money, the rich look for time. You get what I'm
you get.
saying? And that sweet spot is kind of where you want to be, where you can balance the two. And I think that's, a vital place.
For sure.
One of the questions that they had, and I don't see it right now because so much in front of me, but they were like, what qualities do you look for when you are hiring people?
Mm. Qualities I look for when I'm hiring. And hiring is hard, especially when it's a business that you're very connected to. Like, for example, if I was selling books, you know what I'm saying? I next man up, take the job, vice versa. But in the hospitality industry and in the restaurant industry, first thing I'm looking for is, are they a people person? Do they make me feel comfortable? Does their energy feel good? Um, and the hospitality business is based so much around, making people comfortable and being able to, have good energy and make people happy. So that's the first thing I look. And nobody wants to work with somebody who, coming with negative energy and just seems down all the time. The second thing I'm looking for is time, because like I said, that's the most valuable thing. How much time do you have to dedicate to the business? A lot of people have other things going on in their lives. They're part of clubs. They're trying to build their own business. You know what I'm saying? They got kids, family, all those things. Which none of them are deal breakers. But at the end of the day, what makes an employee valuable to an employer is them being available. And yeah, that you can't buy that. You know what I'm saying? So time is the next thing I look for in availability. And then the last thing I probably look for is, what are they passionate about? Because if you're not doing anything to chase what you're passionate about personally, it's hard for me to believe that you're going to be passionate about my dream and my vision. You get what I'm saying? So that's the next thing I look for. How involved and how active are you in chasing your own passion? Because I think that translates well into when you're helping somebody else with
And I like what you said, because I think a lot of employers right now, when they talk about people not being at work and they can't find reliability, and I think that's kind of what you're speaking to, is making sure that you are reliable. Because even with
theirs.
that trust factor, you get what I'm saying, like in so many aspects. Because I have entrepreneur friends, you get what I'm saying, and even for myself and my business, it's like, am I gonna have to find somebody else? Do I have to fire you because you ain't
Right,
showing up like you need to? Like,
right,
so definitely reliability is big, and energy is big, because I want you to treat my baby like it's our baby. You get what I'm saying?
right,
It's like, bro, you don't know what I did to get to this point, to even be able to hire you, to give you
right.
money.
It's
So
easy to forget. It's easy to
right.
forget.
And especially when your name is on it. Like my name, I remember growing up, my grandparents was like, your name is more valuable than money. Like my name means a lot. My reputation means a lot. Can you live up to this? So look, I'm with you when you're right, friend. I'm with you when you're right. Um, so as always, you got to touch on the money, just a little. But one of the questions they asked was, how long did it take you to make your first million?
To make our first million as a company, it took us 2 years. 2 years. We started in 2016 out of our backyard, and by 2019, we made our first million. And that was because we opened up our restaurant, our first brick and mortar restaurant in 2018. Now that was and before that we had a food truck. So we went from house to food truck to a brick and mortar restaurant, which is just like a restaurant you walk in and dine into. I would say we may have made it before 2 years, but when we were on the food truck, we didn't have the best tracking system for our money. A lot of it was cash, you know what I'm saying? And we wasn't doing the proper accounting and really, getting profit and loss statements and things like that. But after we opened up our first brick and mortar, yeah, that year we made our first million. And now we're at the point where we're grossing, about $3 to $4 million annually. And we've only been open for 6 years now. So 6, 7 years. So
Well, okay, so you've talked about this on Clubhouse, but I guess in this I do want to touch in on it too. What was your story from the beginning? Because you said we was in the backyard, then we was the food truck, then it was the building. So give us a little bit about that transition, that story. How did it get started?
Well, I remember, you remember me talking about the challenge with my father, and me telling him that he should have opened up his restaurant. So that's the very seed of it. After that conversation with my dad, I talked to one of my friends who is now my business partner, Avery Bell. We were childhood friends, and I just told him, "Hey man, I'm thinking about cooking some chicken wings." And he was like, "All right, cool, I'm down. Let me know when you want to start." And then I just kind of let it go for 2 weeks, vice versa. Now I'm in a fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and three of my other business partners, we're all in the same fraternity. So at my house in college, we used to throw the house parties, do all of that. So we had already threw a couple of house parties. And this house party, we were like, man, we want to, it's a lot of ladies here. Ladies like to eat. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure we feeding the ladies. So we was like, man, what can we cook as a cool party food? And we was like, man, let's do those chicken wings you was talking about. So we cooked up the chicken wings for the first time. It was a hit. Everybody at the party was, begging for it. You know what I'm saying? We sold out. I mean, we weren't even selling it at that point. We were just giving it away, but we cooked all the food we had. Then after that, we were like, all right, man, let's make a business out of this. So I was already living with one of my business partners. His name is Trey John Benson. He's my marketing officer. The guy Avery I told you about, he was living with his roommate, and he was a finance major. So he's our finance officer now. So it was four fraternity brothers. We were already all friends, but we all kind of jumped in and kind of filled in a certain position when it came to getting that business off the ground. And staying in our lane was so important because it helped us organize our tasks to the point where we cooked in the house for maybe like a good 6 months to a year before we got enough money to build up a food truck. And we built up that food truck from scratch. We just got a flatbed trailer. Avery's dad was a welder, so he put all the stuff together. We had about a 10, and we was buying a food truck piece by piece while cooking out of the house. So we finally got the whole thing together. Didn't even have a truck to pull it, so we had to start renting a truck from U-Haul to pull the trailer we just built. And we took off from there. Like after we got in the trailer, we started pulling up in parking lots, pulling up at different events, all around the state, really, because at that point, it was less about the money and more about just getting in people's faces, letting people know what KOK is and letting them taste the product. So we did that for 2 years and did it successfully. We were really good to the point where we weren't even necessarily looking for a brick and mortar. We were thinking about just getting another food truck and, starting them staff that way in a sense. But a good opportunity came up to where another one of my fraternity brothers wanted to cross before me, knew the landlord of a building and knew that he was willing to do a deal with somebody as long as they wanted to renovate it. So we got that deal with the landlord. We parked our food truck in that parking lot, and just like we did the food truck in the house, we cooked on the food truck and slowly fixed up the restaurant. Cooked on the food truck, slowly fixed up the restaurant. And by the time we got finished, fixing the restaurant and doing our grand opening, we had such a big clientele from the past 2 years and from people just pulling up into that parking lot that after that, it just went like wildfire. And so 2018, we opened up our first location. 2019, we opened up our second location. 2020, we opened up our third location. And now it's 2022, and we're trying to open up our fourth location before the end of the year, and actually 2 locations this year, Baton Rouge and New Iberia. So we're hoping to have those 5 restaurants before the end of 2022. And we just, since our old food truck wasn't really safe, it was just functional. You get what I'm saying? We bought us a brand new food truck too to be able to, do the food truck activity.
Congrats.
That's kind of the story in a brief way. It's a whole bunch of mini stories in between that, of course. You know what I'm saying? But that's the brief synopsis.
No, but that speaks high volume, right? Because you're talking about consistency, right? Being persistent. You get what I'm saying? Like the traits that you're looking for in your employees kind of coincide with what it is that you guys have been doing. Because it's like, hey, you got to have some tenacity in this game. Like you can't just, like we talk about, you can't just fail and give up. Like, bro, if you don't keep going, it ain't gonna work. If you don't work it, it ain't gonna work for you.
Right.
So look, I'm here for the foolishness. How do you think your priorities have changed from beginning to now?
Ooh, tremendously. That's a great question because
they good, ain't it? Them kids got it, didn't
they? Yeah. But priorities change based off your goal, and a lot of times your priorities change based off your maturity too. When we first started the business, the priority was to make a lot of money, for us to, throw good parties. And that slowly changed over time to where now my priorities have shifted completely from business in a sense to where now my priority is really balance because I have so much stuff I could get involved in. This interview is an example. I could be at the location, you know what I'm saying, actually coaching and training my employees, being involved in the community, working out, personal time, family time. If I want to have a social life myself, you know what I'm saying, going to do that too. It's so many different things, you know what I'm saying, you can fill up your time with to where now my priority is really what pours back into me the most. I dedicated the past 6 years of my life to getting my business to the point where it's at now. So I would be almost doing myself a disservice by thinking I had to put in that same type of energy. Now it's not me cooking the chicken 12 hours a day, but it's more about me doing interviews like this, spreading the story, being on a board or council and getting involved in the community, volunteering some of my time to the local Boys and Girls Club because I have that freedom of time. And that's building way bigger connections than me just being in the restaurant where I can have my managers or, other people there making impacts there. And they don't get the chance to make the impact outside the door. So that's literally my job now. So now I just try to balance it to where if my business needs me, I'm available. You know what I'm saying? I'm knowledgeable about what's going on and I can help. But at the same time, learning to build my personal brand in a sense just as much because it can help save the business just as much as the business can help save me. And it's very important that you know what I'm saying, prioritize balance in your life to whatever passion you're doing, whether you're going to be a football player, whether you're going to be a teacher, whether you're going to be a doctor. Don't let that be the only thing that defines who you are. You get what I'm saying? Like you're bigger. God made you a very special person, and He didn't make you just to be one-sided. Like we all 3D. You know what I'm saying? We not flat like paper. You get what I'm saying? So everybody got a beautiful spirit, beautiful mind. It's so much you have potential to be, and it's up to you to really unlock that potential. You can quit after you find your first job and be like, hey, I'm just going to be a doctor.
or I'm just gonna be a chicken, a chicken restaurant owner, an entrepreneur. But no, I'm also a community activist. I'm also, you know what I'm saying, a member of a bike club. I go biking with my friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm also make yourself multifaceted. So yeah, my priority has changed from money to balance. Because if you got balance, all that money gonna come. It's just a matter of fact. What you put in, you get out. And I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Look, and I like that you said, look, you said you dropped so many nuggets. Oh my gosh. I like everything. So I don't know if I asked this already, but let me just throw it out there just in case. So how do you push through the rough times?
How do I push through the rough times? No, we haven't asked this one before. We asked, have I ever thought about quitting?
Quitting,
Pushing through the
right.
rough times. The rough times come when I'm unbalanced. Because something will go wrong at work, I'll be over frustrated about it and not realizing I'm not even frustrated about the problem. I'm frustrated that I didn't get enough sleep. I'm frustrated that I didn't get to work out today. I'm frustrated that I didn't do anything for me to just be able to breathe and relax. But I'm gonna take all my frustration out on the situation I'm in, right? And act like, hey, this is the big problem. No, this is just life. It's everyday life. Problems pop up every day. Different things pop up every day that you're gonna have to deal with. But your capacity to be able to deal with them things comes from how you're treating yourself and how you're taking care of yourself. You get what I'm saying? So every time I go through a rough time, I do a little soul searching and be like, man, why are you going through such a rough time? Like, what's really going on?
That
Because
introspection is important.
right, I'm eating. You know what I mean? I got a roof over my head. You know what I'm saying? I got a car to get around. So what could be so rough? You know what I'm saying? It makes you look back inside and be like, hey, am I being grateful? A lot of times, this is another thing. A rough time, how can I call it a rough time when I literally prayed and begged God for these opportunities? And stuff comes with it. Certain stuff comes with it. So I can't be like, oh, I'm having such a rough time. Oh man, I'm so no, like this is what you asked for. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to have a restaurant. So all the stuff that comes with that, you got to take the good and the bad. You can't just be like, I'm gonna just take the good part and not even deal with the bad stuff or get to complaining every time the bad stuff pop up because man, you blocking your blessings like
Right.
that.
It's a different set of problems. That's
Right.
what people don't understand. Like it's not that problems don't come to you. It's just that it's different from what you've already been experienced to. So
Right.
look, look. um, so who has been there or who has been the most supportive in your journey? So when you go through that, like who do you rely on to have, those conversations?
Man, probably the biggest support system I have is my mom and my sister. My mom was in the army for 20 plus years, and then she retired and started her own business. So that was my first person that I just got to see really start a business. She's a massage therapist. She works with plant medicine. She does breath treatment and things like that. So she really grew that business from her just selling like Herbalife tea into really progressing, you know what I'm saying, into that whole holistic health side. So I got to see her build that business after she got out the army, and I got to see how much of a different person she was from when she was going to a job that she really wasn't passionate about, doing it to pay the bills. So when she was working on her own business, she was two completely different people, night and day. And I was like, man, I don't want to get stuck into that path because we didn't live a bad life. We had a lot of fun growing up. My mom, it's not like she was miserable the whole time, but she wasn't truly happy. And it's a difference between being satisfied and being happy. You get what I'm saying? Or being content and or thriving in where
Right.
you are. You get what I'm saying? So I got to see that difference, and I was like, man, I feel like I would thrive being an entrepreneur because I never had a problem working. I've had a bunch of different jobs, and let me speak on that. Um, I realized I was an entrepreneur because every job I went to, I didn't have a problem going to the job. I had a problem with how things were done on the
No.
job. And a lot of stuff didn't make sense to me. So I'm like, why are we even doing this? Like, it don't make no sense. So I would literally hop from job to job because after I got done with the job and realized it was about progress, I was like, look, I can't even give y'all my time because y'all not even trying to progress around here. Y'all just want to do things the old way. So yeah, they helped me. So my mom, she was the first person to be like, Corey, you can start a business. Like it's not impossible. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can do it. And that's when she gave me that book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I suggest everybody read it.
What is it again?
The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And it's all about building a business to where you're not working in the business, but you're working on the business. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's important for anybody who's going down that field to read it because it could take you on a completely different trajectory. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference being self-employed and then being an employer. You know what I'm saying? Those are two different things. And then my sister, because I mean, she grew up with me my whole life. You gotta have somebody to keep you grounded. And not in the sense of tearing you down, but in the sense of they can praise you, they can pick you up, but at the same time, they know you well enough to look past all the success and see what's really going on with you, the person. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people can just look from the outside and be, oh, you got 4 restaurants, you got this and that, like everything good, nothing be going on with your life. But it's those people who really know you who like, hey, I know who the real Corey is before all of this stuff even existed. You know what I'm saying? How are you doing? So yeah, my mom and my sister are the people who keep me grounded.
And you need that too. You need somebody who sees you for you and not what you have going on and what you're doing. And it's totally different. And I just to give you a little story, but I had that happen where I was at an event and it was the person who was hosting it. We were taking pictures and I just looked over and I was like, are you okay? Is everything good? Like, you feeling all right? And she was just like kind of taken aback because yes, it's celebratory, but you can see when a person, if you want to see it, when they're kind of tired or, whatever. And she was like, no, all night. She was like, we've been busy for 12 plus hours. She's like, you're the first person who ever asked me that. You get what I'm saying? And it's different because, I see people. It's not so much, you get what I'm saying? Who you are, the name.
Right.
But you,
like, we are humans at the end of the day, regardless.
Right.
We are human at the end of the day.
All right. So we coming down to the last couple of questions, and I don't want to keep you too far. You know what I say?
That's good. I've been having fun, man. That's some good questions.
But so I'm gonna do it. It's 2 questions, but I'm gonna put them together. What was your biggest loss, and what was your biggest win?
That's a good question. Biggest loss. My biggest loss. All right, so we were getting ready for this thing in Louisiana called Festival International. And it's a big festival where everybody comes around, eats, drinks, vice versa. And this is our first year being able to participate as a restaurant. So, man, we knew all the people who were coming in town, and we had to make the decision on how much chicken did we need to buy in order to sell. So, of course, we ambitious, we motivated, our business booming. Everybody like, man, we can sell out of whatever we buy. So we were kind of in the mindset of, let's buy as much as we can because every time before, we sold out of everything we had. Well, we got all up our money and got a couple of other people to pitch in with us, you know what I'm saying? Our first kind of funding round. And I think we bought like 1,000 cases of chicken. And so it was an ungodly amount of chicken. So much chicken that we were storing it in a refrigerated truck, a refrigerated truck trailer. Well, that first off, we didn't sell all that chicken. We didn't even sell. We sold a lot of chicken and made some money, but we probably still had 200 plus cases of chicken. You know what I'm saying? Left over, and that's a whole lot of chicken. You get what I'm saying? So, then the refrigerator truck broke down to where all of that chicken spoiled and did all of those things. So that was probably my biggest L, because that was probably like a easy, you know, $5,000 to $10,000 loss at a time where we didn't even have $5,000 or $10,000 to be losing. So we ended up kind of just breaking even on the whole thing, which is a loss still, because we put in a whole lot of work, a whole lot of time, a whole lot of energy. So I would say that was probably our biggest loss. And my biggest win, we recently, let me grab this right quick. We recently just won this Small Business Association 2022 Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Me and my company, my business partner. So this was probably my biggest win, and we've done a lot of different things like opening up restaurants and a whole lot of stuff to be proud of. But that one was special for me because from where we came from in our backyard, and to be recognized by the state as one of the top entrepreneurs, that was special to me. When we went to the Capitol, we went inside the, you know what I'm saying, Capitol Hall. We went inside the Senate and the House of Representatives. They announced us, they introduced us, and we met so many people. So I think that one was the most special for me because it really symbolized, like, man, all that hard work you put in, like, now the state recognizes you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You made it. You can call yourself an entrepreneur now, for real.
Right.
That was special.
Look, congratulations. Look, I'm up here like I don't won. Like
we all in it together,
we did
man.
this.
Hopefully I can inspire some of your the kids in your 8th grade class. Like I said, I used to teach 8th grade history, so I got a special place in my heart for, you know, the 8th graders, especially them about to go to high school next year. Like, hey, these next 4 years are gonna be some of the most important in your life. You can make bad decisions or you can make great decisions. Whichever ones you make, you gotta live with them,
right,
for the rest of your life. So be aware.
That's so true. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna skip this one. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your lifestyle and the choices of becoming an entrepreneur?
10. For me personally, I love my lifestyle. Like, I woke up this morning, rode my bike, went to a quick meeting, went to MMA practice, had lunch with a friend. Now I'm doing this interview. After this, I'll probably chill out for a second. You know what I'm saying? I got another meeting at 4. And it's days where I have a bigger, you know, more packed schedule than that. But I love my lifestyle because, like I said, I get to choose what I do with my time. And I love teaching. I have a passion for teaching. Like, that was really, you know what I'm saying, what I wanted to do in my life at one point. But if I was a teacher, I would have never been able to enjoy, you know what I'm saying, having the freedom over my time that I have now. Or if I would have chose a different career path, I would have never got to enjoy. We just came from Chicago on a week-long trip for the National Restaurant Association conference out of there. And the company paid for all of that. So I got a vacation to Chicago. I've been out of the country like 3 or 4 times because, like, you know, every year we take a company trip and just kind of relax and, you know, get our mind together. So it's just countless of experiences I got to have and didn't even have to pay for because I had, you know, the company behind me. So as far as lifestyle goes, like, this is what I always dreamed of. And I always, even though I wanted to be a teacher, even though I wanted to do these things, I always just tell my mom, I just don't, something in me don't feel like I could ever I don't see myself staying at a job for 25 years. You know, you meet people who've been here for 30 years. Man. I was like, I just can't see myself doing that no matter what I'm doing. Even if I'm teaching, I don't see it for myself personally. And nothing wrong with people who do, because there's different career paths. There's different things for everybody. But I encourage everybody who got that deep down feeling of, man, something about me just don't want to work for anybody. Well, you better start figuring out how you can work for yourself and making money for yourself, because you might be an entrepreneur and ain't nobody gonna help you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get to that bag. So you gotta figure out how to get to that bag on your own. For sure. But I
So,
love my lifestyle. I'm enjoying it.
that's a good beginning, a good introduction to this last question. I'm gonna make this the last one because you got to get off. And you
Oh,
know
you're
what?
good.
Look,
You're good.
but what two pieces of advice would you give to a student, or to a person who's looking to become an entrepreneur?
Two pieces of advice I would give. One, find your passion. Find your passion. And your passion don't have nothing to do with money. I didn't start cooking chicken wings because we can make a lot of money. I started cooking a lot of chicken wings. I know I had a good recipe and it was gonna make the people at the party happy. I like hosting. I like having people over. I like people enjoying themselves. You know what I'm saying? I like creating an environment for people. That was my passion. And so that passion turned into a whole lot of money, vice versa. Now, I had passions that were greater, less than vice versa. But that's the second piece of advice I'll give somebody is after you find what your passion is, find a community to grow your passion in. Because you're not gonna find it at your house. Your mama not gonna believe in what your daddy, even if they support you, they're gonna be like, oh my son, I don't know if you can make a lot of money doing that. I don't know if you gonna be like those are not the people that are gonna support you. So a lot of people get defeated and they get discouraged because their immediate circle can't encourage them enough to really jump off that cliff, but they're not the ones who are going to do it. You got to go find your community, go talk to the people who are doing what you want to do, and I bet you'll jump off that cliff, 3 or 4 times faster. Because they're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And at the end of the day, they're going to tell you it's possible because everybody knows somebody in their field who's doing it major. You know what I'm saying? Even as a teacher, all right, you can be a regular teacher or you can be doing extra stuff like you're doing right now. You're doing interviews with me to bring back to your students. That's a whole lot of extra. You get what I'm saying? You could have just handed out some worksheets and been like, look, do this. I'll see you at the end of the hour, vice versa. But the fact that you're actually developing yourself, you know what I'm saying? To get to this point and to do these things, I'm sure that has something to do with the community you was in and you being comfortable with doing this from either seeing somebody else doing it or hearing about it or even just being on Clubhouse and getting encouraged by a whole bunch of people who are doing something. You get what I'm saying? So those are my two pieces of advice. Find your passion, not what's going to make you a bunch of money. Find what you actually care about. Find what you'll do for free, and then find a community of a whole bunch of people who want to do the same. And you should be good to go from that point on.
Look, yay! I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for interviewing me, man.
Thank you.
Honored.
Before we go, because I probably should have did this at the beginning, but if you can give me your name, your age, the location, and then your title in your business.
Corey McCoy. I'm 29 years old. I'm the CEO of Klinton, Wings and Things in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to hearing from you on Clubhouse.
Look, yes, I'll be there.
All right.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.